All right, everybody, welcome back. We're going to take a look at the inside 2-on-1 position. For the knife specifically, like little nuances to put in for like the KCC program. However, this stuff can be applied without a knife, unarmed as well, right? The first thing I want to look at, we address the inside 2-on-1 a lot in the Knife Control Concepts program, mainly because this position sucks, okay? I'm inside of his elbows, so he's got most of his power, mobility, stability, all of his potential. I'm focused on this side, and he's almost around my back. So the inside 2-on-1 position, in my opinion, in our experience, is less than desirable. So we spend a lot of time working it in the Knife Control Concepts program because it sucks. I want to know if I do find myself in this position or in this position, how do I make this as best or survive this as best as possible to then get to the next thing. So we usually look at like three main checkpoints. The first checkpoint is my inside foot, whenever possible, I like to stick it back like a kickstand for several reasons. If this leg's forward, he can get a hold of my leg, he can trace around my back faster, so he gets around my hip a lot quicker. If I take this leg and I put it back, it's a little bit harder for him to do that. It's not impossible by any means, it's a little bit harder, so I'm making it a little more difficult. Other thing is I'm taking my head and I can't necessarily square up and turn this way because I'm so focused on the blade, but what I can do is I can still create head pressure with my ear and my neck this direction. And I'm leaning essentially back towards my kickstand so that as he starts to move around my back, I'm either able to drive his posture down a little bit to then open up my ability to maybe get back to the front, which is where we start people off. Or if I start pushing down on his head and he doesn't like that, he starts to drive his head back up, and that actually allows me to get out to the inside and feed basic head position there. So I'm baiting him into giving whatever I want, right? Now that said, the position still sucks, right? So I get into this good solid spot. Maybe my foot got too far forward. Maybe they're just bigger, stronger, faster. They get around the corner a little bit faster. So we're gonna look at three additional transitions slash, I don't wanna say Hail Marys, but the last one's definitely a Hail Mary. The first one is whether I'm basing into the elbow here or whether I'm pushing and framing this way, and there's a lot of energy where he's moving around and I'm trying to trace and it's just not working, so I go the other way. And what I mean by the other way is, as I'm going, I'm gonna step through the arm this way. So as he starts to go towards my back, I'm gonna step through the arm to go under, and then I'm gonna fill my head into the back of his head, arm here, okay? So a couple of things. We see this a lot in struggles and scuffles, like in live, when people are really flowing and moving over this, where they start getting around the back and they've lost that position to be able to regain it. And so what ends up happening is they start going this way. Well, the risk is if I half-ass this, if I hesitate, I can get stuck in a position where now he potentially has the knife up around my throat or has me in the head here, and it can be a real nightmare. So if I am losing the position where he's going around my back and I don't get there fast enough, I actually want to kick the opposite way, all right? All like classic Krav Maga, grab and go out the back door. Dynamically, it can happen, and it can happen pretty quickly. It can happen with good result, okay? So it's not a quote-unquote preferred method, but it can absolutely happen. So as I go to transition and go out of that, and I find I'm keeping good, tight grips on this. I still have a good grip on the wrist. I'm still holding and hugging my elbows in nice and tight. As I go to transition out the back, I get my head out and immediately fill right back behind his arm here, and then I can transition outside 2-on-1s if I want to. Okay, so one to play with, stay behind the tricep and the elbow, makes life really nice. Another thing that can happen is, as he starts to trace around my back, I want to stop him from getting to my back, so maybe I go to reach with this far side underhook. All right, I've been trying to get back out to the front. It's just not working. Or just the way he turns his hips, I feel like I can race him around the corner. Or maybe in my inside 2-on-1, he gets head position on the opposite side. And now I'm here. So I'm gonna take this inside hand, or I can choose to take this inside hand, go around his back, and then I'm gonna go to my split seatbelt. I reach for that inside elbow, grab on nice and tight, hug him in good and solid here. So again, I'm in the inside 2-on-1, trying to get good solid pressure. He's racing around. I reach around the back, grab on, transition my pressure to the outside, split seatbelt position. If you've seen it, you know it. Craig Douglas does a really good job of running through that. We utilize it as well. Last one, this is a Hail Mary, okay? It's a Hail Mary, it can happen. I do not recommend it in any way, shape, or form. However, if I have really good pressure on this elbow and Mike really starts running around my back, and I waited like way too long, and I can't quite get my hips out this way, and I don't really feel like if I bail on this, I'm afraid I may lose pressure. Sometimes what can happen, especially if I'm starting to fall over, is as he runs and races around my back with good pressure in here, I can find myself in lovely hip toss mode, okay? Now, you're fucking hip tossing somebody with a knife. This is like the worst possible idea ever. However, if I get caught in that moment where I'm off like balance and centered and I can't quite get out this direction real quick and I really don't feel like reaching towards the outside and he's pursuing this super aggressive as he goes over and I get that flip, if I got him unweighted, okay, maybe why not, okay? So I go ahead, I make my toss. Now, the recovery on the end of this is the big one. Once I've got him elevated, I'm gonna turn, look, over, and I need to make sure that I'm still controlling the blade. I don't really want the blade underneath me. So as much as possible, I'm gonna start getting down in, potentially dropping into some of our other positions that we go to work there, all right? That is a Hail Mary. If you're watching this video and you're like, that's the dumbest thing in the world, yeah, I agree. The idea is shit happens. And so when you get to a certain perspective, a certain level, and you wanna start going, okay, what's next, right? What's like the last little piece of the puzzle? That's one you can start playing around with, okay? So as a really quick recap, we prefer solid positions, glue the head in, start getting back to a better position, work out to the outside. Doesn't seem to be going the way that I want it to. One thing that can happen, I can end up going out the back door this way, feel space on the outside, ooh, right behind the tricep, okay? Another option, again, he's trying to chase around my back. As he goes to chase around the back, I reach, push, catch. And then now I have my position here, and I can work whatever things I want to do from there. And then last and least, not least, last and least, I've got this position, I'm going good solid head pressure, and I just start losing the position, the grip, over, keep my control, transition. It's a bit of a shit show. However possible, okay? So play around with it. I wouldn't say these are primaries. They're like tertiaries, but they are things that come up and they are things that we should be able to play around with, okay? Check it out, have some fun. We'll see you guys next time.